A miracle of miracles. Andrew has managed to beat the gremlins to death, and I'm delighted he can join us. Good evening, Andrew, and thank you for persevering. I know you've had your issues at your end. I really appreciate you taking the time to join us.
Thanks, Mark. We got there in the end. Yeah, bit of technical issue, but we overcome it. So thanks.
Listen, technical issues are they're not my middle name, they're my two middle names, actually. I have got an intro prepared, so just while you're catching your breath, because you are coming in late, I'm just going to go through that, and then we'll get on to the questions. One of the things I was going to say was that the fact that equipment manufacturers spend millions each year to improve visibility from the cabs of their machines, but there's more to visibility than just bigger windows and more sloping engine covers. In fact, some of the greatest safety benefits can be gained by making the machines themselves more visible to others. That's why I wanted you on the show, Andrew. We saw your system previously when we hosted our Demolition Technology event back in the middle of last year, and we've just played the video again. Take me through the FOSS product range, first of all. Let's bring everybody up to speed on exactly what it is that you do.
Good evening, guys, ladies and gentlemen. I sort of started my business about 4 years ago. Been developing the system for about 4 or 5 years prior to that. So we predominantly looked at creating systems that were focused on looking at illumination at night time, so that we can offer a sort of illuminated message. So you can understand as a user or as a passerby or anybody like that, you can understand the system very, very quickly. So we use a range of systems for our application. So we've got a thing called FOSS Halo. So Halo works around an exclusion zone around vehicles, where it offers an exclusion zone being red. So straight away it indicates it's red. Then you should keep out of the area because it's either danger, there's a big machine working. So that illumination helps. We use a system called FOSS Light Livery, and that's using a very unique special design panel. It's about sort of 3 mil thick, very durable, robust. It's reflective, it's fluorescent, but the added safety benefit to it illuminates at night. So it's over and above the standard of, say, I don't know if anybody's aware of, say, of a chapter 8 product that you see on the rear of most vehicles nowadays going up the highway. They've got a sort of a 45-degree angle chapter 8 chevrons, but we illuminate that. And then we've taken sort of our technology and we've made it very smart by being able to gather data, information, and be able to see diagnostics on our kit. How's it work? How's it developing? What sort of environments it's being used for? And that's the technology that we use. We also do a very, very cool bit of kit that's known as a glow skin. So obviously you've got your high-vis vests that are fluorescent orange, fluorescent yellow, reflective material, and they work on a performance of, if you shine a light upon them, then you get emitting light back, known as obviously the reflective light. But garments are only great if you shine a light source. If there's no light source, then really they are pretty pointless at night because there's no light source to reflect back the reflective material. So the fluorescent you can't see at night, whether it's orange or yellow, you can't see reflective tape. What we do, we added value in there by creating illumination. So the actual garment itself lights up white on the front, red on the rear. Again, that's a huge safety benefit because you're not relying on a secondary lighting source. Also, you know which direction the person's facing, so that if I'm stood on a railway track and I look down, I see red lights, I know that the guys are facing the other way. So I need to either warn them, be very cautious on approaching them. So it adds as a safety benefit to workers around you as well. And that's the type of systems that we've developed over the years. And we are focused, and our market share really is creating products that work in low-level lighting and obviously at night time. But by adding the extra smart technology, we're starting to become very smart, that we can gather more information and showcase that in the daytime as well.
I've got a list of questions here, but you just jumped ahead, and I'm keen to pick up on that. I mean, obviously, I spend quite a bit of my time, or I used to spend quite a bit of my time on sites and own a huge collection of high-vis. How is your advanced high-vis powered? Is there a battery in the high-vis jacket, or am I missing something?
Yeah. So what we've done, we've enhanced it by our jackets have the standard basics, because obviously to sell into a PPE market, which is personal protective equipment, you have to conform to certain standards, being the ISO standards, which is the right amount of fluorescent, yellow or red, and the right amount of reflective material. What we do, we create a light source within the reflective material so that it does reflect, but also illuminates. So that runs off a very, very thin technology we design like a paste. So it's very thin, very durable. We can put it into a washing machine. You can dry it like a standard product. It will do as many cycles as you like. And then what we do, that's powered by a very, very small power cell that's rechargeable. That gives you sort of, it's about 4 hours to recharge it, and that will last for a good 30 to 40 hours of continuous use.
You've just preempted. We've had a question in here from one of our regular viewers here, Ken Hatcher. How long does the battery last? I think you've just answered that question perfectly.
Okay.
The main reason I wanted to speak to you really, and you know, the high-vis kind of came out of left field as far as I was concerned. The product that intrigued me the most was the Illuminated excavator counterweight. You know, the rear of the machine, the chevrons of the machine. That is a really striking system. How does that work? How is that powered, and how is that linked to the machine? Yeah,
great. It was always my sort of vision to try and create some. I mean, these are great big machines. So you're talking about from a small bobcat all the way up to 40, 50 ton machines here that have got huge reach and an arm, obviously the bucket, they're spinning. You get lots of workers around those areas, and they can be quite a demanding, vigorous area to be working around. So what we wanted to try and create was, we understand obviously safety. We wanted to create something that didn't have the ability that you couldn't afford to have that system. So we created something that used our technology, which was an LED technology where we project a light beam. So we project these light beams in a certain way that we can create sort of a heptagon, a hexagon, and create an exclusion zone around these vehicles. And they are purely attached to the vehicle via either a bracket, or there's some clients that don't want anything bolted to their machine. So we use very, very strong coin magnets that create a pulling force for about 20 kilos per magnet. So the lights are fitted in the right location. They fit really well. They don't move, and then we adjust them. We've also got a really cool unit now that you can sort of press a button, and you can be in your vehicle, in your cabin. You can use it off an app, an iPad, or you can have a control unit, and you can adjust the movement of the halo, the exclusion zone. So if you feel that you want it to be 3 meters, you set it at 3 meters. You want to go 5 meters, you can set it at 5 meters without even getting out of your cabin. So it's becoming quite smart as a product in its own rights.
The interesting thing there is obviously the market does now have access to things like proximity sensors and that kind of thing. So if the proximity sensor is set to a 2 meter distance or a 3 meter or whatever it might be, you can then literally reflect that with your system as well, can't you?
Yeah, you can work in conjunction with systems like that. So what you can do is, if the proximity is set at 2 meters, as you say, Mark, you can set your exclusion zone visually at 2 meters, so that they know that if they breach that zone because the light is there, they know they're going to cross it, they're going to breach it, then either the machine stops moving or there's an alarm that plays. So it can work in conjunction with different systems as well.
On the illumination of the rear of the machines, particularly the rear of excavators, that unfortunately that is one of the areas of a machine that does tend to take a fair few knocks and bumps and grazes along the way. Can your system be repaired, maintained, replaced very, very easily?
So it can be. It's a system that we spend a lot of time developing, and it doesn't work on like a conventional LED panel where you have very, very micro LEDs now that are literally bulbs. So if you create a very hard impact, you will create a damage to that bulb system. We created a paste so that we've done multiple testings. We've had this system in the market for a long time now, many years. It's extremely, extremely robust, and it's used for forklifts, so the rear end of forklifts that take a heavy hit all the time. It can take that impact. There's no bulb there. It's very, very durable. We tend to try and place it in key positions where obviously there's less impact on the panel itself. But over the years, it's been extremely durable and worked up to some very vigorous impact, and it's survived. We had one case where we've got a client, Scotland Transit, where we do a lot of their vans, and last year they had a crash at the rear of one of the vans, and they phoned us up to ask us if we could take the panel off and put it onto a new van, because the back of the van was damaged so badly that it was a write-off, but the panel itself had taken the impact, and we were able to take it off and put it onto a new vehicle. So yeah, we've had situations where it's proven it's extremely robust as a product.
The film that we just showed while we were getting ourselves set showed the fact that you're working. I mean, certainly the film was done in conjunction with. I think we had a bit of a glitch in the system there for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned the fact that you're working with, well, you've been working with O'Brien and possibly Flannery's. Who else are you working with?
Companies out there, to be fair. We've created a fantastic database of clients, from people like Eurotunnel, Skanska, Balfour. We've done quite a bit of work with the AA, further trials. We work with all the main national local authorities for our systems. We work with the people like HS2 on that project, Hinkley Point. So we work with all the major players that are coming to us now through either direct business or through subcontractors that then take on our product and put it forward. It's become sort of mandatory on sort of key sites now as well, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly see the benefit here on particularly on sort of motorway work and that kind of thing. But I spend a lot of my time writing about demolition, and things like bridge demolitions tend to take place at night, which obviously sort of plays to your strengths. And one of the things that struck me, now you've explained how the system works, we've seen it on the carrier machine, but I guess you could actually put this onto an attachment, you know, like a bucket or a breaker or a shear or a pulverizer, something literally hanging off the front end of the machine. There's nothing to stop you doing that either, is there?
No, that's right, Mark. We do a lot of work with obviously cranes, and we do quite a lot of work with telehandlers. So telehandler has a huge reach with their sort of buckets or different applications they apply to the front of the machine. And again, we can have different solutions. So we have products that can project a circle on the floor, so that you get a big radius, so that you know that something's above your head. We can create lots of different solutions to suit the application that's required.
We have had another couple of questions. I'll come to them in a second. But one of the things that and this is getting completely away from the product line, but one of the things that struck me, I've spoken to yourself now and several of your colleagues. There does seem to be a bit of a Greek connection with your company. Is it just a coincidence everyone's got a Greek surname, or is there more to it than that?
Yeah. So my background is, we're fathers from Cyprus, came over in the late 50s. And created their usual business in restaurants and that sort of market, and they grew into that sort of sector. And it's quite a good question, actually, because what this does, it leads on. I sort of came into that market originally, bars, clubs, restaurants, and I used to have a group of security guards back in the 90s for some of our venues, and we had a group of about 60, and it was always very difficult to see sort of security workers, door staff as they called them back in the day, in the nightclubs. So if you had 1,000 capacity floor and you had, say, 10 doormen, it was sometimes very difficult to locate or even pin them out, because it's very dark and there's lots of people in that club. So the idea was to illuminate the security workers, so that you had a full security illuminated all over, so you knew exactly, a bit like policing that venue. And we are obviously in a sort of a small community in Weston-super-Mare in the south, and we obviously have a community, a Greek community. We have a church, so we're obviously Greek Orthodox, and we go to church and to confess our sins. But I get on quite well with a local priest, and I said to him, look, I want to create my own business, and want to look for a name. So I explained to him what I was doing, and we came up with the idea of the name FOS. And FOS basically is a Greek word for light. So that we would say, in English, you put the light on, for instance. We would say put the FOS on, for instance. which is light. So there is a bit of history there and a reason why we came up with that. And we just like the name, really. It's a bit catchy, different, and it has a bit of sort of substance to it.
No, absolutely. I mentioned we had a couple of questions here, and they're both from the same guy. First off, I think he's talking about the exclusion zone. Is it a laser beam? And then he followed up with another question: can the beam shine in your eyes? I mean, I'm guessing the exclusion zone is pointed downwards anyway, but that possibility of being dazzled, I guess, is a concern. So, how do you address that?
Yeah, we over the years when we were developing the system, we absolutely looked at all types of products that are out there that we could develop. So laser was one of them. LED technology was another one. And what we found out very quickly, laser technology is quite tricky. It's extremely expensive. It doesn't give you the width of the line that you require. It can be dangerous on your eyes. If somebody looks at it, it can affect your eyes. So we steered away from laser technology and worked on LEDs. So it's all about the casing and the lenses we use, and what that does, it's sort of a 2000 luminosity projection that focuses on a beam that's about 5 meters long, depending on how far away you pull it, and it also has a thickness of about 100 mil, so that it's a better line, it's thicker, it's lowering cost, so that you can put 8 to 10 of these lights on a machine. You couldn't do that with a laser, and also it doesn't affect the well-being of a person if they look at them. We also have we call them they're like visors, where we actually have the unit fixed onto machinery, and then we have a nice casing again to focus the beam, but it's a very directional beam, has no effect at all to the eyesight.
That's fantastic stuff. We've had another comment which is completely unrelated to you. Somebody is suggesting I'm wearing Ali G glasses. There is a reason for this. I've been sat here looking at this screen for the last 14 hours. This is just to take the glare out, and I was prepared to be dazzled by Andrew. You mentioned the fact that laser beams are expensive, and they are very expensive. And I mean, I've got some LED lights on the wall behind me, so I know they're fairly cost effective. I'm not going to hold you to it, because I know various applications and various machine sizes will vary. But just how expensive is this? I mean, I know you're comparing it. We're making a machine safer, so it really cost shouldn't be a major consideration, but it will be.
Yeah, we sort of pride ourselves on being able to develop a great system, design it, install it, manage it, service it. So we do the whole sort of journey. So including installation, all parts. On a big excavator, you're talking a 20, 30 ton, say a Hitachi, Komatsu, it's about £1,200 all fitted, including VAT.
Which is not bad at all, particularly when you think about the I mean, I've been looking at attachments this week, and you're talking sort of 20, 30, 40,000 pounds for one of those, so something to keep people safe. Very, very good value, I would say. Andrew, as you've been kind enough to give up your evening, I'm going to let you go now, but before you do, can you let people know where to find out more should they be in the market for one of your systems?
Yeah, sure. Guys, look, thank you very much for joining us tonight and following us. There's absolutely loads of information on www.foz.com. We've got a fantastic presence on LinkedIn as well through Andrew Comitri, Cristiano Comitri, Nicole Comitri. So have a look at Foz on LinkedIn as well. And any inquiries, you can come through to our website, and we'd be more than happy to assist and help you moving forward.
That's fantastic. Andrew, I'm going to let you go. I pressed the wrong button again. I've been having a day of this, I'm afraid. I'm going to let you go in a second. Just want to say thank you for joining us. Thank you for persevering with the technology, and congratulations on the fact that you're talking about lighting and you are superbly well lit. It's almost like you've had a lighting director in to take care of that for you.
I have, yes, especially me. Mark, thank you very much. Thanks, everybody.
No problem at all, and very good luck with the product. Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Take care. Bye-bye.